Hi guys, this is Vineet, and in this video we will discuss about how you can restore files and file groups within SQL Server. Before I proceed ahead, I would request you guys to please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit on the bell icon to get all the notifications. Select the all options after hitting the bell icon. And there are some points which I want you guys to remember while watching this video. So I would request you guys to watch video till the end to gain better clarity of concept. If possible, watch the video twice. And I would also encourage you guys to do exercises in your lab environment, especially when I'm writing T-SQL code and doing some stuff with SQL Server Management Studio. I would request you guys to practice those exercises in your lab environment with lab databases or test databases. And third point is that we would like you to know your thoughts regarding our videos. So please share your comments. We would love to hear your comments. And we would also love to hear your story regarding any real situation where you have practically applied my stuff, which is mentioned in my videos. So let's come back to the topic, which is restoring files and file groups inside SQL Server. Let me go to my notes. So here we'll cover this demo 8, how to restore files and file groups. And there are some restrictions applied when restoring files and file groups. These restrictions are that system administrator restoring the files and file groups must be the only person currently using the database. So maybe a database can be set to a single user mode at that time, and system administrator should be the only person trying to restore the files and file groups. And under the simple recovery model, the file must belong to a read-only file group. And if we are using full and bulk log recovery model, before you restore the backup files, you must back up the active transaction log. So these are some of the points which need to be remembered while restoring the files and file groups. Now let's go to SQL Server. Let's go through our demo. So once you connect to the appropriate instance of the SQL Server database engine, so here we are connected already. So let me show you how you can connect. So whatever your database instance is, try to connect to it, and after that expand on the databases section. So you may either expand the system databases, but I would suggest you not to touch the system databases, but instead you work with the user databases, which are these. And here we will be using Northwind database as our sample. So right click on any of the databases. Here we are taking Northwind and point task, and basically I'm telling you how to do a restore. So select restore, and under the restore there is an option to restore a database, but here we want to, for this video we want to restore the files and file groups. So once you click on restoring files and file groups, now on the general page database is selected, and it shows that there are two files. One is the database file, which has this size. Transaction log is currently 0. So this is the database backup we have, which contains the raw data and a transaction log. Alright, let's discuss it further. So on the journal page, in the to database list box, this, so destination to restore, where do we want to restore this database files? So we select which database we wanted to restore it to. So we can also the new database name as well. Choose an existing database from the drop down list, and this list includes all the databases on the server, and it excludes the system databases, especially the master and TempDB database. And let's go further. Then we need to specify the source for restore. So from where do we want to restore the files and file groups? So there are two sources. One option is we can select from a database from where we want to restore. And second one is the from device, where we can specify the name of the file to be restore it from. So if we select this file, let's see. So it contains a full database backup. Uh, Let me see if we can add any additional stuff. Apart from that, we have log backup as well. So let's take that. So yeah, we can restore it from this as well. So we had already taken backup in the past, which has a full backup and a transaction log backup. Each one has a size. So let's see. We have shown you the device options, and below that there is a backup set to restore grid. So for this particular backup files, we have added two backup files. We have full backup and a transaction log backup. So give me a second, guys. So yeah, we were talking about the select a backup set to restore grid. So whatever backup sets we want to restore, we can select those options here. So we select the backups to restore, and the grid displays the backup available for a specified location. So by default, a recovery plan is suggested. So to override any suggested recovery plan, you can. So here it is suggesting recovery plan to restore full backup and transaction log backup. But yeah, you can override this option by selecting a subset of options. So from here, all right, and there are some columns which I would like to discuss within this grid. So first one is the restore column, which can be used to select the checkboxes, indicates the backups which we want to restore. And the second column shows us the name of the backup set, which it is currently not showing for this file. And the third column is the file type, which is basically specifying the type of backup that was performed. It may be a full differential transaction log backup. So here we have full and a transaction log backup. Next, it specifies the server. It specifies the name of the database engine instance that performed the backup operation. So basically giving the name of the machine which performed that backup. We had performed a backup on the same machine, so it's that's why it's giving out the same name. Then it gives the file logical name. Here it is. File logical name is not given. So let's see further. So file logical name is not there. Database name is there. So which specifies the name of the database involved in the database operation, in the backup operation, start date of the backup and finish date of the backup, size of the backup, the user who performed this backup. This is basically this information. Now under the option section, so we have selected a restore source. So it is not allowing me to go to that. Let me select database. Now it is showing, letting me to go there. So the backup which was taken was not a file and file group backup, but instead was a database backup, which is a full backup and a transaction log backup. And the file backup was not there. And if I select the from database source not found, it is allowing me to go to the option section, which lists us the which allows us to see what files are inside there inside that database backup. So here is the list of files, which is there are two files. First one contains rows data northwind.mdf is the primary data file, and log file is also there, northwind.ldf. So all right, let's check. So in the option, once you select the option section, there are some restore options. There's a panel for restore options. You can choose any of the following options. So first one is overwrite any existing database. Yeah, it is same as previous ones we had discussed in our early videos. So selecting these options will override an existing database, and selecting this option basically okay. So selecting the first option, overwriting the existing database, specifies that the restore option operation should overwrite any existing databases and their related files, even if another database or file already exists with the same name. So what this will do, this will overwrite these files inside that location if it already exists over there. Uh, I think the file should already be there. So if we take a look at this location, so file is already there, file must already be there. So Northwind LDF and the MDF is also there. Let's see. So let's sort it by name. So Northwind, we have two files. One is the transaction log file, one is the primary data file. So fine. All right. So selecting this first option, overwrite any existing databases and their related files, if even if another database or file already exists with the same name. And so selecting this option is equivalent to using the with replace option in the T-SQL statements. And if we want to select the second option, prompt before restoring each option, let me tell you the purpose of this option. It asks for your confirmation before restoring each backup set. So here if we take a look at general section, we have two sets. Or maybe if we are restoring different database backup set, it's prompt us before restoring each backup set. And this option is particularly useful where you must swap tapes for different media set, but yeah, we are not using tapes for this scenario. Such as when a server has one tape device and we need to swap tapes, but yeah, we are not taking any backup on tapes. And third one is the restrict access to a restored database with restricted user. So selecting this option is synonymous to using the with restricted user option within T-SQL, and it makes sure that the restored database available only to a member of DB owner, DB creator, and sysadmin groups if you select this option. So we can either restore the database files to the same location, or we can change the location if we want to change the location here. So file type is given over here. This is the primary data file containing the root data. This one is the log file. This one is showing the location where the backup will get restored. Let me try to use this option once again. It's not allowing me to go there. So let's take it from database. And yeah, so override the files. In this case, selecting first option would be useful because we are restoring the files at the same location. Files already exist over there. And there's a recovery state panel as well, have some options. So let's discuss about these options. So first option is leave the database ready for use by rolling back the uncommitted transaction. So any of the uncommitted transaction at this time, those will get rolled back if this option is selected. Additional transaction log cannot be restored. So this is equivalent to using the restore with the recovery option. Second option is leave the database non-operational, which is using the restore with no recovery option, and don't roll back the uncommitted transaction. And additional transaction log can be restored as well if we are using that option. And the third option is to leave the databases read-only mode. In this case, it will create a standby file, and basically it rolls back the uncommitted transaction, but save the rollback operation in a file which is a standby file, so that recovery effects can be undone. So equivalent to using the recovery with standby. If you select this option, you can specify the path of the rollback undo file, which is given over here. So this is basically how you if you do okay, the files will get restored at their location. You can change location here as well. So I'm not doing that operation from here. We will perform some samples from T-SQL instead from here. So let's discuss some of the T-SQL concept scripts. So how you can do the same stuff from T-SQL? So we basically execute the restore database statement to restore the file and file group backups. We need to specify the name of the database to restore. So let's open up a new query and you may write along with me. So restore database is the statement and you need to specify the name of the database. In our case, it's Northwind. So you need to specify which database device you need to restore from. So you need to specify that, and from disk you are restoring, the need to specify the path of the whatever location you are using. And apart from that, you need to use the file clause for each file to restore and the file group clause to each file group to restore. And no recovery clause can be used if you don't want to fully recover the database at this point. So if the files have not been modified after the backup was created, specify the recovery clause. So let me do something. Let's go to task and see the backup tab. So first of all, we want to take file and file group backup if we want to restore a file and file group backup. So we need to take that. So let's quickly go ahead and this one is by the way using the full recovery model. Here we don't want to do any transaction log backups, but yeah, just taking a file and file group backup. So we have a primary file group. So let's select that. So we are taking a primary file group backup. Let's quickly change the name. Give me a second. Let me specify the name. So location is this. Let's call it Northwind files group, file groups. So let's do that and click OK. So here it is selected. We are taking a full backup right now. So let's do that. Let's take a backup. So backup file is created quickly, and so let's see where the backup file is. So it should be into the backup folder. So this is the files and file groups backup. If you want to check the content of this backup file, what you can do, you can go to restore option, file and file group if you want to restore files and file group. So let's select a device and select that file to see what options are coming in there. So where's that file? We need to select all files. So this one is the file we had not used the .back extension. Yeah, that's okay. You can check the contents of the file here. So yeah, it contains a full backup over here. So let's do OK. So select this option. So it is a Northwind full database backup. Size of the database backup is given over here. And if we go inside the options, we go to options, it shows us the files which are backed up under this backup set. So again, two files are there. So all right, I just wanted to show you the content. So if we want to restore the same file, let me rename it with the back extension quickly. So just put a back extension to it. So once you put the back extension, yeah, this path can be utilized. So let me put the path. So I'm restoring it from the disk. So copy this path and select this and put the name of the file. You can do a rename on this and copy the complete file name and put it there. So this option is done. So two parts are done. Next, you need to specify the file or file group option. No recovery options can be specified. So if the files have not been modified after the backup is created, so we have modified we have taken a backup just now, and files are not modified. So we can specify the with recovery clause here. We want to recover the database, and we will use another clauses in a while. So with recovery, we want to fully recover the database, so we are using with recovery option. So first, this should be only used in a case if we are just taken the backup and files are not modified after that. In case the files are modified after the backup was taken, so you need to restore it with no recovery. So if a file has been modified after the file backup was created, execute the restore log statement to apply the transaction log backups in case the files are modified. But yeah, we know we are not restoring any additional logs. Let's see. Okay, let me make some modifications of files. So what I will do, I will change some rows in here in some tables. Let's do that. So here we will not use the with recovery option right now. So let's go to customer table and select the top 1000 rows. So let me modify it a little bit to make it a little simple. So let's take top 100 rows from here, top 100 star actually. So let's take some rows. And for these first 6 customer IDs, I'm changing the country to India. So let's do update on the customers table. So be careful with the update statement. You need to specify the parameters. So we are setting the country for these customers to India, where I'm specifying the condition where customer ID in. We can specify these customer IDs, but yeah, these should be within the quotes as these are textual strings, and they should be separated by commas. Let's quickly complete this exercise. You might do the same at your end. Okay, let's take this. Okay, all right. Let's modify these customers. Country to India. So 6 rows are modified. So let me select from the customer tables. Again, we specify the same thing where customer ID in this. We can see if their country is changed. So I made these changes after taking the files and file group backup. So I've changed the country to India. So now there are changes to a file. So what you can do at this point, you can take a transaction log backup as you have made the changes to our database. So let's take a transaction log backup. So go to backup, and there are some changes. We'll take a transaction log backup quickly. So select transaction log and remove this. I want to take it under another file. So let me specify the name Northwind transaction log backup. I would say transaction log backup .bak. So I'm restoring the transaction log backup under a separate file. So let's do OK. So backup is taken. So we have 2 files over here. So a transaction log backup and a file group backup. So all right. So what we will do now, we will show you how you can restore it now. So we need to specify the file and file group backup, and in addition to that we need to specify the transaction log backups. So you need to first specify the name of the database with the restore database statement. Then you need to specify the file you want to restore. In our case, let's see what files we have. So files were this northwind.mdf was the file, northwind.ldf was the file. So specify the name of the file, which is northwind.mdf. Next option is you can specify the file groups. So if you go to properties again, check the files. This is under the primary file group, and there are no other file groups available apart from primary file group. So only one file group is available. So you can specify which files and file groups you want to restore. So we want to restore the file group. Uh, want to restore it under the file group. Uh, we have only one database file, which is under the primary file group. So let's name the group which is primary. No other files. So these are the files which we want to restore. So from where we want to restore? We want to restore it from disk. We need to specify the path. So here we don't have to specify the comma option. So here you need to specify the path. So first we are restoring this files and file group file, not the transaction log at this point. So select the name of the file from here. So this is this, and do a rename and copy the file name, append it. All right. And we are not completely covering the database over here. So we are specifying the no recovery option. So yeah, this is the batch of command you need to execute. What this will do, this will restore the. So in our case, files are already existing. So what we can do a with replace and with the no recovery. So we want to replace the existing database files which are under this folder data. So files are already existing over there. So we want to replace these files. So let's do that. Let's execute this. So yeah, you should make sure that you are in the master database before executing this statement, because otherwise it will give you this error message. So let's execute this statement again. So it is saying the logical file is not so now what is this logical file? Let's check logical file names. So if we go into properties, let's see the logical file name. So if you take a look at section, I have given the physical file name, which is northwind.mdf and northwind.ldf. These are the logical file names. So what we need to use? We need to use the northwind. This is the our primary data file. So don't use northwind.mdf, just use this northwind. A logical file name should be given over here. So let's execute this. So it is restoring the file from that database backup for files and file group that we had taken. Taking some time. Let's wait for it to finish. So yeah, we got this error that exclusive access cannot be obtained as the database is in use. So it is being used by this window. So let me close that and let me not close that, but instead, yeah, let me change its context to master. So right now database is not in use. Let me try to execute this command again to see if it works. Let's wait for it to complete. So it is still saying that database is in use. So let me copy these queries and close out this window. So let's take a notepad and copy this out. So copy this and Let's close this out so that there shouldn't be any traces of Northwind usage. Let's try to execute this statement again. Let's see if it gives the same error to us again. Uh, let's check out. So guys, let's try to use the restricted user option because it is giving us errors. Let's try to use the restricted user option that the access should be only available to the DB admins and other two type of users. Let's try to execute this statement again now. So I'm doing it with the restricted user. So it restricts the database to a particular user, which are DB owner, DB creator, and sysadmin. Let's see if this executes now. So again, we got the error message that exclusive access cannot be obtained. Let me look into this and get back to you. Give me a few minutes. So guys, I've just executed the sp-who2 command, which is showing me one connection to this Northwind database, which is opened under the SPID 58. Let's kill this process, kill 58 to. So this is done. Now our restore statement should work. So let's quickly run this statement. So yeah, it is completed. We have restored the files Northwind and Northwind log. Alright, so but we have restored it with not recovery. So if we restore the databases, if we refresh the databases at this point, so Northwind is showing under the no recovery state. So what we will do, we will restore the additional transaction log backup because changes are made to the database or made to the database after the database backup was taken. So let's quickly do a restore log operation, and you need to specify the name of the database, and you need to specify from disk option and select the name of the Northwind log backup file from here. So let me select that. The log backup file is here under the backup folder, and this is the log backup file. Let's quickly rename it and select the name and paste it there before this. So yeah, file is there, and this time we want to recover it fully, so we will specify the with recovery option. So let's execute these three statements so that our database can be fully recovered. Otherwise, at this point, if we try to take a look at the, if we go back to our queries, we have modified the customer table regarding these sections. So if we select that, Northwind is not coming in the list, so need to be, so it is not available right now. But yeah, so instead of just checking, let me restore the transaction log quickly. So let's do that. Now the transaction log is restored. Now we can check that table, the row should be shown as their country. Let's quickly check the rows. So need to select the appropriate database with Northwind, execute the statement. You see country is India, so which is coming from the log backup. So yeah, we have successfully restored the files Northwind and Northwind dot there was some other file. So let me refresh this first. So Northwind database is fully recovered. So if I go to properties in the files, so Northwind and Northwind log was initially recovered, and through that first file and file group backup and restored. This recovered the Northwind and Northwind log file, and additional log backup was there. We have restored that. So we have successfully shown you how you can restore the files and file groups along with any additional log files. So I hope you like this video. Let me know if you have any doubts and all. I think the video is quite clear, And if you really like this video, please hit on the like button and share this video with your friends. Please post your comments. We would love to hear your stories and how you are applying my stuff in your everyday, day-to-day practical situations. And please subscribe to my channel and hit on the bell icon to get the all notifications. I thank you once again for watching this video today, and you have a wonderful day ahead.